Number 11, God of War.
Can you kill something that big?
I've always been a fan of pop culture. Video games, movies, television, you name it. But one thing about pop culture is I don't expect it to grow up with me. For example, I've loved Star Wars since I was a kid, but I never expected Star Wars to grow up with me. In some places it has, but at the end of the day, Star Wars is still a morality tale of good and evil, targeted towards kids. It's a part of the reason I love it. I'll be able to show it to my kids. But something I really respect is a property that can grow up with its audience. And that's precisely what I believe God of War has done. What started out as an angry Spartan soldier hell-bent on revenge and killing all the gods has turned into a touching father-son story. Well, it's touching in the story department. There's still plenty of action to be found. But as I was a teenager when the original God of War games came out, I loved them. They're still a ton of fun to play. But I must admit, every once in a while, I'd like to have a little more substance in my video games. For example, let's compare the tone of God of War 3's trailer against the new God of War trailer.
Death is in my blood.
So I'm a man now. Like you?
No, we are not men. We are more than that. The responsibility is far greater.
Quite a different tone, and one I welcome. At its very foundation, God of War 2018 is about loss. An older, world-weary Kratos has found himself this time in the middle of Norse mythology with his son Atreus. Kratos has just lost a wife, and Atreus has just lost a mother, and the goal of the game is to spread her ashes at the highest point of all the realms. If you know Kratos, you know that he's not the touching father type. While you can tell he loves his son, you also know there's a lot of baggage there. Atreus has never been able to really connect with Kratos, as his close relationship was always with his mother. So throughout this game, you see these two starting to get to know each other well, and start to learn from one another. It's amazing that a story like this is being told in the same series that has this.
Foul beast! I will send you back to the depths of Hades! Athena! Ares!
But that's just the story. The gameplay, while very different from the original God of War games, is still a ton of fun. This time you're in an over-the-shoulder angle following Kratos around Norse mythology. Armed with your Leviathan axe, which acts a lot like Thor's hammer, and Atreus' trusty bow, you take on the creatures and denizens of Norse mythology. Now this game isn't just a touching tale. It can get very violent and very outrageous. But the context behind it is very different, and due to the fact that I think the story is so good, I think that combined with the gameplay elevates this game above the original trilogy for me. I understand that story is not everything, and in some cases it can really get in the way of gameplay. But for me, a great story really elevates any game I play. I don't always need a great tale. In fact, you'll see in the top 10 that some of these games you'd question what I'm even saying right now. But it's on a case-by-case basis, and God of War 2018 grew up with me, and I really appreciate it for that. The gameplay gave me a rush, the story touched me on a deep level, and I cannot wait to see what the next adventure for Kratos and Atreus is.